What would you do if you woke up one morning and discovered that the world you knew had disappeared overnight? A peaceful suburban neighborhood suddenly turns into a battlefield. Friends become enemies. Families turn into monsters. And survival becomes the only thing that matters. The story begins with a nurse named Anna. After finishing a long shift at work, she returns home and spends a quiet evening with her husband. Everything seems normal. The neighborhood is calm and there are no signs that anything is wrong. But before sunrise, everything changes. Anna and her husband are awakened by a young girl standing silently inside their bedroom. At first she looks frightened and harmless. However, within seconds, she attacks Anna's husband with shocking violence. The attack leaves him critically injured and Anna desperately tries to get help. Emergency services are unreachable and the situation quickly spirals out of control. Her husband dies from his injuries, but moments later he rises again. This time he is no longer human. Terrified, Anna barely escapes her home and rushes outside only to discover that chaos has spread everywhere. Cars are crashing into each other. Buildings are burning. People are running for their lives while strange infected attackers hunt anyone they can find. Realizing that the entire city is collapsing, Anna manages to flee in her car. During her escape, she meets Kenneth, a police officer who has also survived the outbreak. After making sure Anna is not infected, he allows her to travel with him. As they move through the devastated city, they encounter several other survivors, including Michael Andre and Andre's pregnant wife Luda. Everyone has lost loved ones, and nobody fully understands what is happening. The group soon learns an important truth. The infected are attracted to living humans, and can only be stopped by destroying the brain. With the streets completely overrun, they decide to search for a secure shelter. Eventually, they find a large shopping mall that appears abandoned and untouched. The survivors cautiously enter the building and begin searching every section. At first, the mall seems safe. There are supplies, food, water, and plenty of space. For a brief moment, everyone feels hope. That hope does not last long. While exploring the lower levels, some members of the group discover that a few infected are already inside. Several dangerous encounters force them to fight for their lives. Through these attacks, they confirm that headshots are the only reliable way to stop the creatures. As they continue exploring, they encounter 3 security guards who have been hiding inside the mall. Their leader, CJ, is arrogant, controlling, and unwilling to trust outsiders. Although tensions rise, both groups eventually agree to work together, because survival depends on cooperation. Days pass and the survivors begin adapting to their new reality. They fortify entrances, gather supplies, and create routines. Some even start finding moments of normality despite the nightmare outside. From the rooftop, they communicate with another survivor named Andy, who is trapped alone inside a nearby gun store. Using signs and binoculars, they form an unusual friendship with him across the street. Meanwhile, television broadcasts reveal the horrifying scale of the disaster. Entire cities have fallen. Governments are collapsing. Rescue efforts are failing. The outbreak is spreading faster than anyone can contain it. Inside the mall, another tragedy is slowly developing. During an earlier attack, Luda was bitten by one of the infected. Andre keeps her condition secret because he cannot accept the possibility of losing his wife. As time passes, her health deteriorates. She becomes weaker and weaker while Andre desperately refuses to face reality. Eventually, the inevitable happens. Luda dies. But death is no longer permanent in this new world. She returns as one of the infected. Consumed by grief and denial, Andre loses his grip on reality. He isolates himself with Luda and refuses to let anyone intervene. When the other survivors finally discover what has happened, they are confronted with one of the most disturbing sights imaginable. A newborn baby has been delivered, but something is horribly wrong. The child has been infected from birth. The room falls silent as everyone realizes how hopeless the situation truly is. The outbreak is affecting every stage of life and death. Faced with an impossible decision, one survivor ends the suffering, and the group is left emotionally shattered. After this tragedy, morale reaches its lowest point. Many survivors begin questioning whether remaining inside the mall is worth it. Supplies are becoming limited, and the infected outside continue multiplying. Then another problem appears. The mall systems begin failing, and a repair mission to the basement turns into disaster. Hidden infected attack without warning. One of the security guards is killed, and the survivors barely escape. The attack proves that even their fortress is no longer secure. At the same time, Andy's situation across the street becomes desperate. He is running out of food and cannot leave the gun store. The group comes up with a creative solution by sending supplies using a small dog because the infected seem uninterested in animals. For a moment, the plan works perfectly. Unfortunately, things soon go wrong. The infected break into Andy's building, and communication becomes chaotic. In a reckless attempt to help a survivor named Nicole, she drives directly into danger and becomes trapped. The group now faces a difficult choice: leave her behind and save themselves, or risk everything to bring her back. Despite the danger, they decide to launch a rescue mission. Using underground tunnels, they make their way toward the gun store while avoiding massive crowds of infected above. The journey is terrifying, and several close calls nearly end in disaster. When they finally reach the building, they discover that Andy has already been infected. One of the survivors is forced to put him down, ending their friendship in the most heartbreaking way possible. They recover weapons, rescue Nicole, and begin the dangerous trip back. But not everyone makes it. One member of the team is bitten and realizes his fate is sealed. Knowing he cannot survive, he sacrifices himself so the others can escape. Back at the mall, the situation continues to deteriorate. The infected are finding ways inside, and remaining there is no longer an option. The survivors decide to make one final attempt at freedom. A man named Steve reveals that he owns a boat waiting near the shore of Lake Michigan. If they can reach it, they may be able to travel to an island where the infected have never arrived. It is an incredibly risky plan, but it is their only chance. The group reinforces 2 large vehicles with metal armor and prepares for a desperate escape through thousands of infected. When the operation begins, pure chaos erupts. The vehicles smash through crowds of infected, while survivors fight from every direction. Explosions, gunfire, and screams fill the streets. For a while, it seems like they might actually succeed. Then disaster strikes again. One vehicle crashes, leaving several survivors trapped. As infected close in from all sides, panic spreads through the group. During the confusion, Steve abandons everyone else and tries to save only himself. His selfish decision quickly backfires, and he is overwhelmed by the infected. The remaining survivors refuse to leave each other behind. Risking their lives, they rescue those trapped in the wreckage and continue toward the marina. Finally, they reach the shoreline. But one last sacrifice is required. CJ, the security guard who once cared only about himself, chooses to stay behind. Understanding that someone must hold off the infected, he detonates explosives and destroys the bridge behind them. His sacrifice saves the group and transforms him from the most disliked survivor into a true hero. As the boat prepares to leave, another heartbreaking truth emerges. Michael has been bitten. Throughout the ordeal, he became one of the strongest and most dependable members of the group. He helped keep everyone alive and gave them hope when hope seemed impossible. Knowing what awaits him, Michael chooses not to board the boat. Instead, he remains behind and says goodbye to Anna. As the boat drifts away, he faces his fate alone. The survivors watch in silence, knowing they have lost another friend. For the first time in a long while, things seem peaceful. The water is calm. The city is far behind them. Everyone believes they have finally escaped. Days pass as they travel across the lake. Then they discover an abandoned boat floating nearby. Inside, they find evidence that the infection has spread even farther than they imagined. Their supplies begin running low, and uncertainty returns. Eventually, a lush green island appears on the horizon. The island looks untouched. There are no fires, no screams, and no signs of destruction. Excited and relieved, the survivors head toward shore, convinced they have found safety at last. But the moment they step onto land, their hopes are crushed. From deep within the island, hundreds of infected suddenly emerge and charge toward them. The survivors realize that there is nowhere left to run. The nightmare has followed them everywhere. And with that shocking revelation, the story comes to an end, leaving the fate of the remaining survivors unknown.